love horror movies.
Horror is a really interesting genre, and if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know it's one of my favorites. What makes horror interesting is you could have a super low budget, but still make an awesome film, and it turns around and becomes iconic and makes a lot of money. I mean, movies like Halloween and The Blair Witch Project, they were made on shoestring budgets, but both of those films are beloved. But sometimes the problem with a low budget is you get low quality. I mean, think of The Strangers Chapter 2 from earlier this year, and Psycho Killer. I didn't think Psycho Killer was terrible. I did a review on it, but that movie bombed. Now, this past weekend gave us the release of the movie Undertone, a small budget Canadian horror movie that seems to be getting some positive buzz. So what do we have here? Is Undertone the next low budget great horror movie that comes out of nowhere to cement itself in icon status, or even just turn a profit? Or is this, another example of low budget, low quality, low effort shit? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot for the movie Undertone.
Would you just sit down so we could have a chat?
Now, here we find Evie Babick. She's a skeptical paranormal podcast host who has to move back into her childhood home to care for her dying mother. But she continues her show with her co-host, who's more of a true believer. However, they begin receiving a series of disturbing audio recordings from a couple claiming their house is haunted. What starts as intriguing podcast material slowly turns into something far more personal and unsettling, and as the mysterious sounds seem to bleed into Evie's own life, it pushes her towards paranoia and dread. So what works in this film? Well, the greatest strength is easily the performance of actress Nina Kiri as Evie. Now, she carries almost the entire movie on her shoulders because other than her mother, who's basically comatose, we don't see anybody else. She's often acting alone in long, quiet stretches where the tension comes from little more than her reactions and the eerie soundscape around her. Kiri does a fantastic job portraying Evie's gradual unraveling, balancing skepticism, exhaustion, and creeping dread in a way that keeps the film engaging even when the narrative moves at a glacial pace.
Oh, she is good.
And yes, the pacing is very deliberate. Undertone takes its time building atmosphere, layering subtle sounds, long silences, and ominous recordings to create a slow-burning sense of dread. The film clearly wants you to lean in, listen carefully, and feel the tension gradually tightening. And for a while, this works. The movie patiently builds the promise that all of these strange clues and unsettling noises are leading to some kind of terrifying revelation.
So what's wrong with him?
What doesn't work in this film, however, is unfortunately that revelation you're waiting for, it never really arrives. After spending the entire runtime carefully assembling what feels like a deeply unsettling mystery, the film reaches its conclusion and sort of shrugs. The big payoff the movie has been teasing for 90 minutes feels oddly vague and underwhelming, like the filmmakers built an elaborate haunted house and then forgot to put anything in the final room. It's frustrating because so much of this movie works. The atmosphere is excellent. The sound design is creepy. Kiri delivers a strong, committed performance that holds the entire thing together. But when the credits roll, the lingering feeling isn't dread, it's confusion. Not the fun, let's debate what it means kind of confusion either, but more of the, wait, that's it variety? My theater was packed. The movie ended, the credits rolled, and everybody looked at each other like, what the hell happened? So, in other words, Undertone spends the entire movie whispering that something terrifying is coming, then the lights come on, and the movie politely informs you that the terrifying thing was vibes. What a letdown. So, I don't think this is going to be one of those movies that really hits. I don't know, it didn't for me, so we will see, but it's very disappointing.
So that's it?
Well, that's all I have for you this week. Tune in next week where I give you my thoughts and feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a question, share this video with friends and enemies alike, and as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time. And I'll see you next week. Take care.